Hari Om. Start with the prayer. Om Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kamsachanura Mardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum Tvameva Mata Cha Pita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhusya Sakha Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravidam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Amadeva Deva Tvameva Sarvam Rudeva Deva. Hari Om. We are looking at the obstacles for spiritual growth and looking at the Gaudapada statement. This is according to him, there are four obstacles that obstruct the self-realization in spite of gaining knowledge. One is, call it Laya. Laya is the sleep. Individual sleep is called Laya, and the sleep of the totality is called Pralaya. So Laya is sleep that comes because of tamasic nature. So because of tamas only, the mind goes to sleep. Why mind? Because it's so tired that when you try to contemplate on something very subtle, the mind goes to sleep. A lot of people sleep, and even during meditation also, because that's the time when they got up so early to do meditation and sit there and go to meditation classes. And when the mind has become calm and quiet, and it's automatically it goes into sleep, because that's how it's habituated, and more so when it is already tired, and therefore it runs into the sleep. So only way to get out of that place is to keep the mind awake, is to make it fresh, and therefore meditate on the time when one has taken bath and had become himself fresh, and that's the time one should meditate. And this is Laya. And then Vikshepa. Laya is due to tamasic aspect, tamoguna of the Prakriti is coming up, and Vikshepa due to rajoguna of that, and the tamoguna is removed by the rajoguna, and the rajoguna is removed by sattvaguna, and Vikshepa is restlessness of the mind, where people sitting and restlessly moving this way, that way, because they starts recognition that they have, the leg is paining, this is paining, that's paining, their attention is on the mind, they keep moving around all the time in some meditation. And otherwise they can sit quietly. When they are watching a movie or something, you will see that they constantly listen or watch, because the mind is absorbed in that, because there is an attraction there. When the mind is not absorbed, and it gets absorbed into the other aspects of it, external aspects, including starting the body and all that. When the body is, when you pay attention to the body, then body will start complaining, sitting in one place and so on. You become restless, and that's also the Vikshepa aspect, rajasic aspect, and that can be trained by sattvic, by making the mind contemplate. When mind has an attraction on the nature of the reality, just as the attraction on the movie, then there is no restlessness, because you are so absorbed in that. The same way, the love for it, that called mumukshutvam, will help in terms of getting the mind away from the restlessness aspect. And mumukshutvam is strong desire to liberate it. That means the jnana has to be synced in, and mumukshutvam is knowing the truth is the mumukshutvam. Because moksha means I am being infinite, has to be, and so that has to be concentrated on. That's called sattva guna, and that can only remove the rajoguna. The third obstacle is called kashayam. Kashayam is a stagnation of the mind, and due to the suppressions of deep suppressions within the unconscious level of the mind, the deeper in the part of the mind, that comes up at that time and makes the mind dull, not able to contemplate. What can I do about it? There is not much you can do. Let it pass through without giving encouraging and all that. It will go away slowly. So this is the internal, deep-rooted internal disturbance in the subconscious level that is there comes out when the active mind is become quiet. The subconscious mind shows up, and when the subconscious mind itself is trained to think only on that, then one contemplates. That's why the sadhana is important, to So essentially you may call it a brainwashing, but brain need to be washed of all this kashayam, and one has to replace with the proper bhakti and all that. That is a substitute of that for the kashayam also. And when the emotions and angers and all that can come at those times, that's called kashayam. It's just let it pass through, because it has to go out and clean the way in the process. And the fourth, so nothing you can do about kashayam. Only way is by substituting with the bhakti and devotion and all that one can. So whenever that comes, start doing prayers and the puja, all those things and bhajans and all that. Keep the mind away from that is essentially implied. Then fourth one is rasa aswadanam. That means enjoying the meditation. This is a peculiar statement here that Gaudapada zeroes in. This is rasa aswadam, because some people, if you go to Google and say those who are contemplating and who am I, and they have not studied Vedanta, and they also think that Vedanta study is not required, and all you have to do is inquire who am I. And in those moments of inquiry of I am not this, I am not this, I am not this, by negating, and they come to a stage where a calm, quiet mind is there, which they enjoy so much, and they claim that I have enjoyed so beautifully my meditation. Today my meditation is so beautiful, it was so good. Now they want to repeat that experience, and the frame of mind to enjoy at that time is not available. In fact, longing for the same enjoyment itself causes another problem, agitations in the mind. So same experience cannot be, because the experiential enjoyment, and that's called rasa aswadanam. So experiential quietness of the mind, whenever mind is quiet, the reflection of the consciousness, anandam also is reflected. That's what we call ananda, the anandamaya kosha. The mind is quiet in the deep sleep state. That's what pure anandamaya kosha. Whenever the desire is fulfilled and the mind becomes temporarily or momentarily, depending upon the intensity of the longing and also the intensity of the quietness of the mind, therefore deep happiness comes in, not the original happiness, it's only the reflection of Satchidananda. Ananda gets reflected when the mind is in the pool where the mind is, there is no duality, agitations of the mind. Duality causes agitations. Therefore, there is a continuous one calm, quiet mind. That's what happens in the deep sleep state. There is no duality there. It is an Advaitam. But Advaitam is Ajnanam is there. That is what the duality is. Absence of subject-object relationship. And that's what is called the absence of suffering, and that's why it is Anandam, but it is a reflected consciousness, reflected Anandam only. And that also is what meditation also some people can gain when the mind is in the meditation, and in that meditation mind may become temporarily quiet, and because when it is temporarily quiet, the reflection of the Ananda takes place. And that is essentially rasa aswadanam. Raso vaisaha. Rasa means anandarasam. But it's not anandarasam of Swarupa Anandam. It is only Anandamaya Kosha Anandam. It is only reflected happiness. A reflection occurs whenever the mind is quiet. But the problem becomes an obstacle, because now I am longing for that. It's longing for sleep, like that, longing where the mind is sleep, because somebody wants to sleep so desperately, and longing for it, sometimes the very longing for sleep itself obstructs the sleep itself, and one is agitated for not getting sleep, and the anxiety to sleep itself. So we are looking at the rasa aswadanam as an obstacle, because now I am enjoying the meditation, and people claim that, say, I have realized on that day I had a beautiful, now I am longing for again, and so on and so forth. Whenever that statement, that means they are enjoying the meditation and the state of quiet mind, but that's not a knowledge. Knowledge requires an inquiry. So therefore the scriptures clearly points out it is tad vijnasasva. Therefore, you have to inquire into the nature of Brahman. It says, Advaitam chaturtam manyante sa atma sa vijñeyaha. That has to be inquired into. So the mind is not the absence of the thought, but absence of the, it's not the quietness of the mind. Only when I am getting in the quietness of the mind, I am in that state. And whenever I am in the transactional world, again I am getting agitated. That means that there is no realization. It's not a knowledge. It is only rasa aswadanam. I am enjoying the meditation, and that itself becomes a problem according to Gaudapada, because it is not the state of particular, because I can get the same state by different ways also. By going to sleep also I can get the same state. And it's also not nirvikalpa samadhi. Is also, people think that nirvikalpa samadhi, and also Viveka Chudamani talks about it, but nirvikalpa samadhi is without having a thoughts. I had to be in that state. That's what implication is. Then whenever the thought comes where I am not in that state, then I am perturbed again. So it's not that only that state it is. It's a clear understanding of, in spite of the thoughts, in spite of the disturbances, I am unperturbed, because my nature is pure consciousness, never get agitated at all. All that is only mithya. It's only apparent but not really real. That recognition, Brahma Satyam, Jagan Mithya, that has to be done. That can be done only when I have the study of the scriptural support, and that has to be understood also. And this is rasa aswadanam. Meditation becomes itself is a bondage or an obstacle for growth. It says aham jata param jeyam akhandam khandate ekatam. In the Avadhuta Gita, Dattatreya says, I want to meditate. So why do you want to meditate? Well, you are trying to say, I am a meditator and this is to be meditated upon. So you are trying to divide something which is indivisible. Aham jata param jeyam. I am a meditator and this has to be meditated upon. And you are trying to divide that akhandam khandate ekatam. How can you divide some which is indivisible? So essentially, I have to recognize that it is indivisible, and I am that in spite of apparent divisions. They are only apparent, therefore they are not real. So apparent things will not bother me, because they appear to be there and they become my vibhuti only. So therefore, that clear understanding has to be understood. We didn't address the question in terms of how about Veda? Is Vedanta alone is a pramana? And what about the other masters who have in the other religions? Or what about should they fall? They are not realized and they may not know Vedanta. So one has to have a clear understanding now. Vedanta implication of that is, this is the way I would explain. Veda means knowledge, and Vedanta means the ultimate knowledge. And the ultimate knowledge is there is only one that is non-negatable, and that is I am. So Aham Brahmasmi is the essential Mahavakyas that the Vedanta dictates. So whoever agrees and understands and teaches that is Vedanta. So Vedanta as a pramana means implication that I am the absolute truth has to be understood. So when Jesus Christ said, I am the way, people interpret that Jesus is the way. What he meant is, quote, I am, quote unquote, I am. That means pure existent consciousness that I am that I am. Which the Sermon on the Mount is declaring that I am that I am, because any qualifications of that is deterioration or degradation of the state. So I am is Jesus, is obviously that is qualifying, and is unqualified I am is the only way. That is a clear understanding. So any teacher who is teaching what Vedanta says is, we accept as the Vedantic statement only, because that is the ultimate knowledge. Veda means the knowledge and Vid means to know, and Veda means knowledge or a science, and science also means knowledge, and seer is to know, and science means knowledge, and Vid means to know, and Veda means knowledge. So therefore Vedanta means the ultimate highest knowledge. And what is the highest knowledge? That which cannot be negated is the highest knowledge. Trikala abhaditam satyam, that which can never be negated by any other. And what cannot be negated by anything is the one who is negator himself. He cannot be negated. He can negate everything else, but he cannot negate himself, because he has to be there to negate. Therefore, I am is the only absolute truth. So any teacher that teaches that is essentially in agreement with the Vedanta, and that becomes a Mahavakya, and that becomes a Vedantic statement, and therefore they can realize. So any scripture that agrees with Vedanta is accepted, but if that scripture disagrees with Vedanta, that part will not accept. It can be any religion or any matam. So the religious teachers in the other also can be recognized, not study the Vedas of the four Vedas that we have, but what is required is Aham Brahmasmi, and Tattvamasi statement has to be understood clearly by any other way, any other process. That is the teaching of Vedanta. That Mahavakya has to be understood. That understood, I am Brahmasmi, I am the total. How can I be total? And that has to be clear cut, because how can I be this, because the total includes all inert things also, including the terrorists also, including the non-believers also. I have to be that. Non-believers are going to go to hell, and I am the only one who is going to heaven. All that is again misinterpretation of Vedanta. Then that is not, we do not accept that, because anything that is agreeable with the Vedanta is alone we accept, and that we accept as a part of the scriptural statement only. So that which cannot be in agreement with Vedanta, we reject it. And that's what essentially has to be understood. So any religious teacher is okay as long as they teach in accordance with the Vedanta. What is in accordance with Vedanta? You are the ultimate truth. And not only you are the ultimate, you are the totality itself. Aham Brahmasmi or Tattvamasi, that is a statement. So all other religious teaching is also valid as long as the teaching is valid. The teaching is valid as long as it agrees with the Vedanta. That's why Vedanta is a pramana. That's what the implication of Vedanta is, that it's not the particular scripture we are talking about, it is the teaching itself, or the truth itself is the Vedanta here. So that aspect is essentially included as a part of obstacles for spiritual growth. And the contemplation has to be, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, Ajya dharaya srotasa samam sarala chintanam viralatah param. It has to be like Ajya dhara. It is like a flow of a ghee. He gives a two example here. Ajya dhara is like a flow of a ghee. Ajya means, and which is a continuous flow of ghee, and Ajya dharaya srotasa samam, like the flow of a river. And these two examples are to indicate two different aspects of it. Ajya is ghee. When you touch the ghee, it sticks to you, and once you stick, it is always the oil is there. So it means the sneha bhava has to be there. That means one have to have the mumukshutvam, desire to know, that has to be there, and that's what is called, signifies as the Ajya dhara. That means the love for the goal has to be there, then only the mind becomes quiet in the contemplation. Otherwise it gets be agitated. And that's called Ajya dhara. Srotasa samam, like a river flowing. The river wants to go and join the ocean. That's its goal. And any obstruction that comes in it, if it is a small obstruction, it jumps over with the gurgling noise happily. Whereas if it's a very big mountain, big obstruction that it cannot cross, it gracefully goes around it, even taking around a path which is opposite, and then again joins back. That means a clear goal and a determination to reach in spite of any obstacles that come into picture. That's called Shrotasa Samam. And Sarala Chintanam Viralatah Param. This Virala Chintanam and Sarala Chintanam. Virala means these bits and pieces of meditation, and Sarala Chintanam is constant, continuous contemplation, which is Nididhyasanam, is superior to bits and pieces of meditation now and then. So Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is emphasizing that in order to abide in the knowledge, and this is all to be understood. These are the obstacles that have to be overcome in the spiritual growth. And we ask next question in terms of, is external sannyasa necessary? We will address in the next talk. With this we stop here. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevamsishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namah. Harihi Om.